Hey everybody, it's Blue Lizard Jello, and welcome back to another episode of Everything Possible in Dark Souls 2, and today we take a look at the last bit of the DLC. Here I am putting on the Ring of Whispers by mistake when I actually meant to put Flynn's ring back on. Waiting for this Sanctum Knight to make the first move. So I can backstab. Not lagstab, backstab. Now we got some repair powder, so I mentioned earlier that we are going to talk about the things that they can drop. You can get their armor, you can get the Sanctum crossbow, you can get the Sanctum repeating crossbow, and you can get repair powder. Here we have Old Growth Balm. Now we have a visitor coming up, and I know it's not a surprise to any of you, but he used to be a dear friend of ours. And you know what? Because he used to be a dear friend of ours, we're not going to kill him. No, you know what? I refuse to kill Jester Thomas. He was too near and dear to us. He has helped us out with Mytha too many times, so you know what? We're going to leave him be. We're not going to touch him. Nope, we're going to run right past him. We're going to run out into the lair of the Imperfects. And we're going to let them do the dirty work. Using a seed of the Tree of Giants, just go ahead and grab one of the intentions of the Imperfect Dragons, or two if you really want to be cruel, and just introduce the two of them. And then watch the magic. And get hit by Firestorm. But after that, watch the magic. If you're having trouble with Jester Thomas, it's because you're fighting him, and you really should just let these Imperfects do their work. I wish that warmth would be enough for you, Jester. However, you just ended up healing the Imperfect. Good night, sweet prince. And that's one of the easiest ways to deal with Jester Thomas. But with him out of the way, now we have some of these Imperfect Dragons we can deal with. Now this area is called the Lair of the Imperfects, so I take these to mean that these are Imperfect Dragons, especially because they have a very high drop rate of Petrified Dragon Bone. However, in the official FromSoft literature that was provided to people who collaborated on the official guide, like a German Spy, Epic Namegrow, the FromSoft documentation actually referred to them as losers. So, you can call them imperfects, you can call them losers. To me, one is a little less harsh, but hey, I'm not going to judge. So we picked up one Petrified Dragon Bone from that imperfect, which is what we'll be calling them. And there are a few items scattered around that you want to pick up carefully because while they're not too difficult to take on one-on-one, some more Petrified Dragon Bones, they can be very challenging if you're fighting more than one, in my opinion. At least for such a glass cannon build. And yet another Petrified Dragon Bone. It's not all they can drop. We'll see is something different in just a moment. But never forget that there is a hidden bonfire back here. Or at least out of the way bonfire, I should say. Which, in a moment, I will be glad that I chose to use this. Take that, water. Nothing slashes water like a blue flame upgraded to +5. Just take my word on that. And then we have a Titanite Slab. So like I said, it's not the only thing they can drop. You can get slabs. In fact, this is one of the best Petrified Dragonbone and Titanite Slab farming now in the game. Just looking around for more loot. Over here we do have a trio of human effigies that we can pick up. And before we pick up the next item, we will have to deal with another imperfect dragon. Finally, I dodged that leaping attack. And this time around, no slab, but you guessed it, another Petrified Dragonbone. And there is a shiny over to our right that we want to go get. Take that water. And this shiny, hiding on the corpse next to these stalagmites, is a Soul of a Great Hero. We'll get ready because we only have one more imperfect dragon to kill. But before we do that, we have to make sure we pick up the all-important dried roots. The incredibly useless and impractical dried roots, in my opinion. If you guys have found a secret use for them and you find them incredibly helpful, then let me know. And I'll probably still disagree with you. I would love to say that I was victorious against this last imperfect dragon. Alas, even though he was almost dead, as was I, and I could have just healed. I decide, first off, to hit him when he has Hyper Armor activated. And then with only one hit remaining, how many times have I died to a one-hit remaining enemy? The answer is many. You know what? You've already seen me kill them, so now it's time to just say, let's get our souls and get the H out of here. Sorry for the foul letters. So pretty easy to avoid all of these chumps. So we'll just run, we'll get our souls, we'll hightail it to some high ground, and we'll bid these fellas adieu. He does follow for a little ways, but he's not going to follow you onto the land. So we are safe to run up here. Take a look at this wheel, and we're going to use a Dragon Stone that we found in the hidden room earlier. And that will fill in the missing gaps to the bridge up ahead, so we can actually continue deeper into the Sanctum. Before, however, we go check out that bridge, we'll go ahead and we'll hit this obelisk, but then we're going to skip the elevators for now, run down this side path so we can pick up the Drakeblood Greatsword. Now, unfortunately, the three-way split damage between physical, lightning, and magic means that it has to also go through 3 different types of defenses on an enemy before the actual damage is calculated. Sadly, that's just not very effective. Not a great sword. It does have lower stamina consumption compared to most of the other great swords, so if you're being very conscious about your stamina usage, maybe it's a sword for you. But for me, other than being a really cool looking sword, it's just not very viable. Now here I am. I wanted to show you that if you take this elevator, you can probably guess where this actually leads. But if you haven't already, this leads to the very first bonfire in the area. So we have now effectively opened up a massive shortcut from the very beginning of Shulva all the way to the beginning of the Inner Dragon Sanctum. So now we'll head back down so we can take a look and find out what's hidden deep inside the temple. Make sure you don't miss this corpse on the left for your free human effigy. And I'm going to point it out again, even though I pointed it out earlier, you cannot jump onto these ledges on the left or the right. It looks like you should be able to, but there is an invisible wall. Believe me, I tried. A lot. Now once you're finally inside Dragon's Sanctum, it would be a good idea to have the Silver Cat ring equipped, at least for some of the jumps, because there are some places where you'll take some fall damage. Once you've gotten down to the lower areas, you can take it off and replace it with a ring of your choice. For me, I'll be using the Flynn's ring. Now inside this first room, we have our first encounter with a Drakeblood Knight. There is also a Sanctum Knight in here as well as some Crystal Lizards, but we'll be dealing with that momentarily. Now on the left hand side, we have a wheel that hides a Sanctum Knight. On the right hand side, we have 4 Crystal Lizards, and we want to try to get them all in one swoop. I'll show you how I did it. It works for me. I've done it a couple times. If it doesn't work for you, it may be because you don't have a similar build, or it's just because you're not MLG, which is Major League of Gaming. So what I like to do is spin the wheel and get close enough so you actually draw the aggro of the Crystal Lizards, waste a couple of Homing Crystal Soul Masses, but then once they're down, Crystal Soul Spear, or even the regular Soul Spear, is able to take them out fast enough. We have a lot of upgrade materials from here. So we have Titanite Chunks, Raw Stones, Petrified Dragon Bones, Titanite Slabs, Firedrake Stone, Faintstone, Twinkling Titanite, and we have Twinkling Titanites and Old Mundane Stone. Lots of upgrade materials. We're going to actually leave the Sanctum Knight alone because he's not guarding anything that we really need. And instead, we'll just keep making our way down to meet our next boss. Get ready to fight yet another Drakeblood Knight. But before we do that, hiding around this corner, there is a corpse with a shiny. We'll get 10 Hexing Urns. Right around here to the left, be prepared, as Scar once said in Lion King. I love that they fat pull. I think that's one of my favorite things about them. And yes, their armor looks very, very sweet, and we'll be picking that up momentarily. Now, if you're looking for the fastest way down, you can just go straight to the bottom without actually encountering any of the Drakeblood Knights. But I like to take the long way around, that way we can find all the hidden items, including a hidden bonfire. Now, be forewarned, at the bottom of this stairway, we do have 2 Drakeblood Knights. One that'll charge you right away, and one of which will be hiding right on the left when we enter that room. I was a bit frustrated here that my soul masses did not proc. I've noticed that there is a bit of an issue with it targeting when you're above an enemy in elevation. When you're below, it doesn't seem to have any issue. Chug some Estus, and we'll finish taking these knights out. And then there will just be a couple more for us to deal with a little bit later on. In this room with all the empty chests, nothing in the treasure chest, however, we do get the full Drakeblood set by picking up the items from that corpse. The Drakeblood Armor set, not only is it incredibly gorgeous looking in my opinion, it also has one of the best defense to weight ratios of armor sets in the game. Not the best, but one of. So you can be stylish and protected. And don't forget to pick up this bonfire here, because if you die to Elana, you really don't want to make the trek all the way back here. Trust me. Now, in order to get the last of the items, you want to go about halfway down this broken platform. And we're going to jump straight ahead, or just run off. And there will be 2 more Drakeblood Knights, but lots of items that we do want to pick up. The first of which will be 3 Vine Bombs on this corpse. And like the other bombs, it increases one of our stats, and in this case, a Vine Bomb increases your dexterity. I am a big fan of sorcery. This build has taught me well. But we'll get some Twinkling Titanite. We'll get a large Soul of a Brave Warrior off this corpse. Some more Twinkling Titanite here. And we'll grab ourselves some small, smooth, and silky stones from this. And that is going to do it for the items in the Dragon's Sanctum, barring the souls we're going to pick up soon, as well as 1 item in the last boss arena. But for now, let's hop down. Let's grab our friend Benny, because we don't go anywhere without Benny, so we don't have a choice. And let's go meet our good friend Elana face to face. Do a little prep work. And in we go. Now when you first come in here, yes, I did die to her a couple times. That's my bloodstain. Not only can you target her from very far away, but you can also inflict damage on her before she's ever actually aggroed on. You can see about maybe a 7th or an 8th of her health bar is already gone because I attacked her while she was talking. Now, unfortunately, I did get these skeletons right away, but at least it's not Velstad. In fact, you are not going to see him make an appearance in this fight, which actually very much surprised me. I've heard a lot of criticisms about Elana the Squalid Queen as a reskin of Nashandra, and I can understand that. She does have some similarities. She has some similar attacks. She has a similar look, but that's because they have a common ancestor, so to speak. If you read the description of their items and you read some of the lore, there's clearly some dark work at play with these bosses, with these queens. So it seems that Manus from Dark Souls 1, who resided in the Abyss, has actually broken pieces off of his own soul in order to create other beings out of the Dark Abyss. Nashandra and Elana being 2 of those pieces. So, are we going to see other pieces of Manus' soul come up in later DLC? I really won't be surprised. But that's why there is some similarities, and it's not just a simple reskin. And the fight is certainly a lot different, because not only do you have to focus on Elana, but you also have the adds of the skeletons, Velstad, or on the rare case, the piggies, but she also has some pretty devastating physical and dark attacks. If you get too close and you get trapped in her dark AoE, you're going to be in for a bad time. Fortunately for me, I do have Benny kind of holding his own against her up close, and I can just spam my soul spears from far away. Do watch out for the flame swats though. I can tell you from experience, since you just saw me pick up my bloodstain, that flame swat is enough to one-shot me very easily. No, I'm not wearing the best armor, no, I don't have much health, but still, it's going to pack a punch. And at this point, I decide, yes, there are skeletons, but she is so close to dead, I might as well focus on her. And with that, Elana, the Squalid Queen, is no more. We'll pick up her soul, we'll pick up a falchion, because one of the skeletons dropped it, and why not? Our friend Benny is left, but we're going to pick up a pair of friends for this last fight, because, well, I was terrified of this fight. I didn't even try it solo. I'll be honest, I chickened out. But I'll light this bonfire. I'll grab 2 new friends. We have Transcendent Eddie. And we have Abyss Neva, or Abyss Neva. And we'll go ahead and we'll take on Sinh, the Slumbering Dragon, who's not going to be slumbering for long, in case you didn't know that. I love this boss arena. So atmospheric. Now he will always start off the same way. Once he breathes that fire, he's going to dash forward, which will give you some opportunity to get some early attacks in. Or at least one early attack. Now Sinh is a difficult fight. I had some trouble with my melee character. I don't have too much trouble in this fight, mostly because I had some meat shields. Although that hurt, and could have killed me. Unfortunately, it did not. However, one of the biggest things that I can offer for advice for taking out Sinh, and really any of the dragons in this game, is that when they fly up, find the tip of their tail and run towards it. Don't stand right under it in case they land on it. But you want to run towards the tip of the tail, that way you should avoid most of their fire breath attacks. Other than that, if you can get under them, it is a good spot to get some good melee damage, but you have to watch out for the move or he will actually rear up and spew fire underneath in order to hit you, which I think was a really good design move on the developer's part to add into this fight. As mentioned on my blind playthrough, you can cut the tail off, but there is no weapon that you get for it, and in my opinion it makes it a little bit harder, because then you can't see exactly where he is if he's directly above you. I have to say I am greatly impressed with both Transcendent Eddie and Abyss Viva in this fight. They really do a great job, especially when Abyss Viva decides to heal. I'm not sure what healing spell that he or she is using, but it's very powerful and very effective. I do apologize for not speeding this up, or maybe even cutting it down, because it is a little bit of a longer fight, but I was happy with how it turned out. Now, do you think that Abyss Viva's casts of Great Lightning Spear were nerfed? Does she only get 3? Or he? I don't actually know the gender of them. But look at that healing. So great. Sinh is about halfway done. Both of my NPCs still trucking along. Yes, I would have liked to have Benny and Luca for the fight, but I guess at this point I'll just take what I can get. here's a good opportunity if you do want to take out the tail to do so. Once he rears up on his hind legs, great opportunity to get some tail damage. That came very close. Far too close for comfort. See, there is an item for us to pick up, and we'll take care of that, but we're going to wait until we actually kill the dragon this time, unlike the last time. Abyss Viva is starting to feel it. Not too much longer now, though. Find that tail, run towards it. And of course, because Abyss Viva is a baller, you can see that the health is now starting to restore. Good call. Just watch that sweeping flame attack. Like that lightning spear did a whopping 3 damage. Way to go, Miss Viva, or Mr. Viva. Someone's gonna correct me, so I'll just keep using androgynous terms. And there's that attack that'll get you even if you're directly underneath. The stand-up attack, you can go to the tail. And here's one of the reasons that I'm glad that Lucatiel wasn't here. Because had she been, she would have stole my kill. And that is Sinh, the Slumbering Dragon. So we picked up the soul. We have 2 more items to pick up on the ground, the first being Yorg's Ring. Now, Yorg's Ring has about a 30% chance of deflecting spells, although some testing needs to be done. And then lastly, we have the Crown of the Sunken King. Crown of the Sunken King, a very interesting item for soul level 1 users because while it takes away 1 vigor and 1 vitality, it adds a point to strength, dexterity, intelligence, and endurance. So it gives you a much wider array of items that you can use if you're running a soul level 1 character. The trick is you have to kill Sinh. You can see that I actually go to Straight Cell, but we're not going to go to Straight, we are going to go to Ornifex, because we want to take a look at the 2 items that we can get with the boss souls we just acquired. First item that we can get is Yorg's Spear, the same spear that was actually pierced through Sinh, the dragon we just fought. Now when you equip this item, it reduces your magic, lightning, fire, and dark resistance. However, it increases your poison, bleed, petrify, and curse resistance, which makes complete sense in my opinion for being in that area. And the Wrathful Axe would be the weapon that Elana was just using, which does have a very interesting R2 dark magic AoE attack. But ladies and gentlemen, that is everything possible in the DLC content as far as I'm aware. If I missed anything, let me know. If you did learn something, please leave me a comment below and let me know what you learned. Otherwise, I will catch you guys next time where we continue with the next batch of DLC.